on 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. My bad. 2, 1. Let's do it.
Inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
Come on in. Appreciate y'all for being here. Welcome. And I have never, and I mean never, felt so taken advantage of. I've never been so let down in my life. Who the hell want to play football this late? I'm just up here minding my business, trying to get a little bit of work in as I pull up my Bleacher Report app so I can take a look at the chat over there. I'm just up here minding my business, taking a look at the Bleacher Report app, taking a look at my chat boxes, and I may or may not be looking at a UFC fight up on the screen also. Chat, you know, if it's like earlier in the day, if they would have caught me around like 5 p.m., if they would have caught me maybe, possibly somewhere around like 8 p.m. or something like that, I possibly would have felt much better about watching football. I probably would have been excited, like so much more excited. Because look, we lost last week. Cowboys lost last week, but since the game, was happening earlier, I felt better about the things that was going on. But boy, like Deuce scored a touchdown. Deuce did Deuce things. Jalen Tolbert did Jalen Tolbert things. And I was just like, I'm ready to go to bed. Man, look, the game was going on and we down by 8. Chat, if this was 6 p.m., if it was 6 p.m., man, I'd have been looking like, all right, offense, let's see if we can drive and get 6 points and let's add 2 so we can at least end, you know what I mean? Let's try to get a good offensive drive out of this. But boy, I'm just like, hey man, they don't have overtime in preseason, do they? I'm like, they don't have overtime in preseason. Like, we don't have to prolong this thing any longer, right? It is what it is, though. We got some good things for y'all. We got some bad things for y'all. Love y'all to pieces. I'm glad you guys are here. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about preseason-wise. I got my Bleacher Report app here. I got my YouTube app right here. Now, also, too, you may notice that my computer's missing, okay, because we're working off an old little janky laptop because emergencies happen. But if anybody can get it done, Brother Voch can get it done. Now, let's talk about some good things that happened and also touch on many, many bad things that may have happened to our Dallas Cowboys. Let's just do this, right? Let's just call this, can we go ahead and bubble wrap these players and get them ready for New York? Can we go ahead and put these guys on ice so that we can get ready for New York? So many people getting hurt. Oh, no. Can we just not take a chance with these guys and get them ready for New York? Aljamain got knocked out. All right, Jalen Tolbert. Can we get him ready for New York?
Did you hear what I said?
I was texting Will Steele. I was texting some of my Cowboy friends, and I was like, hey, man, Jalen Tolbert is the CD Lamb of the second unit, of the backup guys, right? You know, we could just find him, get him the football. We could just give him tough catches. We can get him high passes, and he'll catch them. We can and look, this is the second week in a row that the referees have seen Jalen Tolbert catch a football, and they just call him not catching the football. It's nonsense again. But Jalen Tolbert looks comfy, man. Jalen Tolbert looks like he's in his zone. He's lined up inside, he's lined up outside, which we talked about this earlier on the volume on YouTube. Check me out, Voch Lombardi on YouTube. We talked about this, right? This idea of Jalen Tolbert chasing Michael Gallup, Jalen Tolbert pushing Michael Gallup for wide receiver 3. I think it'll be irresponsible to say that Jalen Tolbert is wide receiver 3 right now. That'll be incredibly irresponsible for me to say that Jalen Tolbert is wide receiver 3 right now. But Gallup got 5 games. Gallup got 5 games to not beat Gallup before I start to look for Jalen Tolbert, right? Why is this important? Well, because one, we still haven't seen what Michael Gallup looks like at full strength since the injury, right? We know what Jalen Tolbert looks like since he's had the offseason program and things of that nature. We've seen it. You know, and in terms of Gallup, you know, we always talk about versatility. We talk about what can you do for me, right? I'm not gonna even say if anything happens to such and such. I just don't even want to say it. I'm gonna knock on wood just in case, right? But Jalen Tolbert is a guy that can play slot for you. He can play all the wide receiver spots. Gallup is a guy that's only gonna really line up in one place for you. He's gonna line up as the X guy. So if anything were to happen, Jalen Tolbert has versatility that'll make you feel better about him possibly being wide receiver 3. I'm not saying he's wide receiver 3 now, because if Michael Gallup shows up and the knee is fine and he is confident and he is Michael Gallup of 2019, 2020 or so, then we can have a solid conversation about Michael Gallup being wide receiver 3 and it not be close. But let me just take a look at my schedule. If we get to the 49ers game, that's week 5. If we get to, you know, because we would have gone through the Giants, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Patriots at that point, right? If Michael Gallup ain't Michael Gallup in them games, hey, you can go ahead and give me Jalen Tolbert, dog, because the one thing I don't want to do, like we've been doing the past few times, is I don't want to have to deal with San Francisco without offensive weapons. And Jalen Tolbert is just moving closer and closer and closer to trust me land, all right? Jalen Tolbert had a fantastic day. Let's bubble wrap him. Next, I'm going to talk about the running backs. You ain't necessarily got to bubble wrap Rico Dowdle. You don't have to bubble wrap Rico Dowdle, right? You could just kind of let him play a little bit of kicking teams next week or whatever. You can let him do some things versus the Raiders. You could throw a pass, you know, to Rico Dowdle and let him come back on the sideline. You know, you ain't got to bubble wrap Rico Dowdle, but you can bubble wrap Deuce. Anytime, and we're going to talk about this roller coaster that the offensive line was. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Anytime that, like, it had to be blocked horribly. It had to be blocked horrifically. Meaning, oh, Deuce Vaughn gets the football, free man running. Oh, Deuce Vaughn runs to the right. Okay, well, Josh Ball just totally missed the linebacker. Oh, some offensive lineman whiffed on some block and got smoked. That's why Deuce Vaughn got tackled. But that very first play, when Deuce Vaughn got the ball, we were in the red zone. Mind you, anytime I see the Cowboys in the preseason in the red zone, it is a jarring image, ladies and gentlemen. It is a jarring image to see the Cowboys in the red zone. Cooper Rush did it early. I was shocked. But when it was blocked nicely, anytime anything's blocked nicely, which leads me to believe that if Deuce Vaughn gets to run behind the first team Cowboys, boy, he will be even better. Deuce Vaughn scores a touchdown. He shows wiggle. He shows vision. They tried to arm tackle him at 175 or so pounds, but he keeps those feet moving, spins off of that, and he goes and scores a touchdown. Hey, whenever it's blocked nicely, Deuce Vaughn runs nicely. It just kind of is what it is. Boy, Sean O'Malley just knocked Aljamain Sterling out. Now, yes, you can bubble wrap Rico Dowdle. And look, Rico Dowdle had a pretty good game this week, right? I think Rico Dowdle has solidified himself as one of the Cowboys' backup running backs. I think he's made the roster pretty much. The Cowboys love him. So it just makes a little bit of sense to take Rico and just place him on this roster here. He's here. It is what it is, right? I made a joke on Twitter. Voch Lombardi on Twitter, by the way. I was like, man, Malik Davis and Hunter Lipke gonna get like 40 reps apiece next week because I don't want to play Deuce. And you can start Rico for a drive, but hey, Malik, and to be fair to Malik had a much better game this week than he had last week. The problem is Deuce just comes in and he just shows us what he can be. And Malik doesn't really show us a special skill, right, chat sisters? Malik just doesn't show us any special skills. He doesn't show us any kind of skills that keep us up at night, right? We see Deuce Vaughn with his wiggle. We see Deuce Vaughn with his pass catching ability. We see Deuce Vaughn being hard to tackle even for a little guy. We see Malik Davis just kind of get, Malik Davis just kind of get the ball and he just does his thing, right? And if you're going to be that type of running back, then hey, bro, then we can get anybody to be that type of running back, right? It is what it is. Moving on. What other good things did we see? Early in the defense, Sam Williams and Osa Odighizuwa boy, they both made some flash plays. Osa versus the run, Sam versus the pass. Sam made some run stuff also. He set some edges. He bounced some runs back inside, but he also had the sack, right? And hey, Sam getting it going early. Oso Digizua. I was watching the Seahawks broadcast. I was upset at the Seahawks broadcast because there was some lady talking to Michael Bennett, and Michael Bennett was talking to some other Seahawk character, and they were just blabbling on, just not saying anything important. But another thing that I hated is that whenever the Cowboys did anything good, the Cowboys would make a play. They'll never show that replay. The Seahawks could do anything, remotely impressive. Oh, 2-yard run. Let's show 3 replays of that, right? But that early Osa play and those early Sam Wiggins plays, we just had to sit around and just imagine what those plays look like after they happened or whatever. But it is what it is. We're going to be watching film on my channel, and we're going to get to the bottom of this thing. Once again, I just want to appreciate my chat on both sides. I want to appreciate the Bleach Report chat and the Voch Lombardi chat for tapping in. Come on in. We're talking about some good things that we saw from this preseason highlight, and we're talking about some of the bad things that we saw. Just a couple more good things that I want to get to y'all, right? A couple more good things that I want to bring to y'all's attention. Let's get to it. I wrote down, this is funny. I wrote down, hey, Kelvin Joseph made a play, but then as soon as I wrote it, Kelvin Joseph gave up a play, so I just scratched that joint out real fast. Cooper Rush looks solid. Like I said earlier, it's kind of jarring to see Cooper Rush do anything positive in these preseason games, which tells you how good your defense is. Like, how did Cooper Rush ever go 4-1? When we see preseason Cooper Rush, we see who Cooper Rush really is, and we watch that, bro, and we go, damn, dog, Cooper Rush, how, sir, how did you get in this red zone? I didn't believe it. But Will Greer didn't have a great day. Cooper Rush had a solid day, so there's your quarterback assessment, okay? Offensive line was a little up and down, and I would say this is where we start to get into some of the things that kind of suck tonight, okay? Offensive line, let me tell you something. There were a handful of pockets, right? As I just navigate my little screens or whatever, there were a handful of pockets I was looking at on the offensive line, and it made me go, Will Greer got a lot of time to throw the ball right here. And even with a lot of that time, Will Greer would throw the ball to the other team. Will Greer would throw the ball to a check down guy. Will Greer would throw the ball to the grass. He still would have a little bit of time to make that play. I will give the offensive line that. Other times, the offensive line just looks incredibly incompetent, right? Cool, it is what it is. It goes back to on the volume a couple days ago. Me and Will still had this conversation. We're like, hey, do you want to see Dak play any preseason at all? Oh, no. Hell no, sir.
Did you hear what I said?
For what? For what? Especially with some of the injuries that we saw today, right? We'll just work from from top to bottom. We'll just get into some of these bad things that happen. Matt Waletzko hurt a shoulder. DeMarvin Overshown tore his ACL. So unfortunate for him. He was a dude that was stacking good days on top of good days, and he was on his way to having a good day today. That very first drive, the Cowboys defense did a pretty good job beating up on the Seahawks offense, and I was ready, right? I was ready to run out here and be like, hey man, would you look at my young defense? Would you look at my rookies and rotational players just coming here and beat the hell out? Add it to the list. Add the list of preseason first team offenses that my backup defense started beating the hell out of, and just progressively throughout the game, we just started tackling the worst, right? Long story short, we'll come back to that. DeMarvin Overshown was ready to stack another good day on top of another good day. We say this on my show on YouTube all the time on the Volume Voch Lombardi show. I said volume, my bad, volume. We talked about how Leighton Vander Esch was on Don't Get Hurt Watch, right? We always talk about these guys who aren't really allowed to get hurt because the dude behind you, they're coming, they're on the way, right? And they're approaching you quickly. For example, Rico Dowdle, who normally gets hurt, Rico Dowdle cannot get hurt right now. If Rico Dowdle gets hurt right now, he's never going to get his job back from Deuce. Nature of the business, right? We have that same situation right now with the linebacker. Well, we had that same situation with the linebacker. This is sad. Let me cut this off. Hold on, chat. we had this situation with the linebacker position, right? To where, hey, Chad, Van Der Esch, don't get hurt, cuz, because boy, we are going crazy over the idea of Damone Clark and DeMarvin Overshown, Harper as a rotation guy, mixed in with Micah Parsons playing linebacker sometime. Boy, look at the speed we got at linebacker. And Van Der Esch was on, hey, don't miss no time. Don't miss no time. And we're gonna take those guys and mix them in with our safeties, and boy, we was good to go. But it didn't work out that way. And DeMarvin Overshown, they said that they were working on it. They said that they were, it looked like it could be an ACL. They didn't use definitive language, but hey, bro, listen, bro, these doctors, bro, they can look at your knee and be like, oh, your meniscus upside down. You know what I'm saying? Modern medicine is just so much different than it once was. So nah, if it looks like, if their team doctors are saying that it looks like DeMarvin Overshown has torn his ACL, bro, I hate to say it, but I just think that's just where we are with that. But that just leaves room for these other guys to step up a little bit, right? We talked about guys like Devin Harper. Hey, you're gonna need to be a dude now. You're gonna need to be around. Now, there are things we can do to hide our linebackers. Of course, one of those things being Micah Parsons. You know what I'm saying? You just put that dude at linebacker, all of a sudden you don't have a linebacker problem anymore, and you can still blitz that dude and pass rush him however you like him. There's options to this whole Micah Parsons thing. But at the end of the day, chat, DeMarvin Overshown is one of those young guys that we had such a bit of faith in. We had such high hopes for him and what he was going to end up being, man. And to see him, hey man, when you tell the ACL, you're out for the season, to see him possibly being out for the season, it sucks, dog. It sucks a big one. Pause, by the way. Hey, Matt Waletzko, bro. This is a bad thing about Matt Waletzko. He got hurt, but he wasn't really playing that great anyway, right? So now we need to figure out what we're going to do at backup right tackle. Meanwhile, what I said, Terrence Steele somewhere is sitting around counting fake money, right? Just excited about the idea of what he finally gets to do, with money once he gets that bag. Like, Terrence Steele really might go around just buying up everything because of the size of the bag that he's gonna get. Because what the conversation was is, hey, Terrence Steele, are you gonna be worth that money if you come in and right tackle Terrence Steele? Well, one, we know Terrence is healthy. Terrence is gonna line up and play. He's gonna put that brace on. I tell people all the time, offensive line hips ain't like wide receiver hips. Offensive line ACLs. O-line ACLs aren't like wide receiver ACLs. It's midnight. But our hips, offensive linemen's hips, are our ACLs. So when you hear about offensive linemen, they got bad hips. That's why Leo Collins falls off a damn cliff. That's why I don't really want Jason Peters coming back. Because if we just big dudes sinking down on hips like that, that's when we're bad. But hey, Terrence Steele is just a little ACL. He's in, he's here, he's playing. He's had a solid camp when he's not blocking Micah Parsons. So he's rubbing his hands together like Birdman, because now we're in that Zach Martin position. Terrence Steele can look at us and be like, hey, you just gonna let Josh Ball play right tackle? You see what I'm saying? Zach Martin had that leverage, right? Like, hey, you gonna let Josh Ball play right guard? Now Terrence Steele can say, hey, you gonna let Josh Ball? Hey. I know Terrence Steele is still on contract and he ain't got to go nowhere. But damn, dog, Terrence want his paper. And he can 100% look at Josh Ball and be like, hey, dog, this is, come on, But this Waletzko thing, it puts him in a bad spot because I feel like he was competing for his life, right? He was beating Josh Ball. Like Waletzko was a guy that we had faith in, that we made Josh Ball go to guard. Josh can go, honestly. But now what made me think about it is, what are we going to do at tackle? What are we going to do at tackle right now? Quay on Bleach Report says, don't we still have Chuma Doga? He hurt. He hurt too. So now this is what I actually tweeted, right? Voch Lombardi on Twitter or X or whatever the hell y'all want to call it. I was like, hey, this would be a good time to see what Austin Richards look like at right tackle. I know they wanted to make Austin Richards like a left side player, but dog, this is an emergency. This is terror threat level orange. So in my mind, I want to see what Austin Richards look like at right tackle so we can go, okay, I know Austin Richards can play left tackle. Let me figure out if he could play right tackle so in a pinch he can be our swing guy. Because at the end of the day, Chad, this is the part that's scary. This is the part that keeps me up at night, and it just feels like there's no positive answer or solution to the idea that we know Tyron Smith is gonna, I'm not gonna say it, I'm just gonna knock on wood. We know Tyron Smith is gonna. So now you just moving so many spots around, dog. It's just so much. It's so much happening right now. And I always talk about, hey, you're never going to get a perfect offensive line because the league in general is bad at offensive line. So I can't really hate the idea that you ain't got a whole bunch of offensive linemen. But, hey, this is my team, dog. It just sucks when it's my team and I can't, have a good answer about what happened here. If we find ourselves in the regular season where something happened to Tyron and, I don't know, like, old boy sneeze or something like that, and he just got to be out for a game or something, like, man, we are in some deep shit. We're in some deep shit. But we'll see. We'll cross that road whenever we get there. No problem. Let's see. What else do we have here? Well, let's go Overshown. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to figure out right tackle at some point. I will say the good thing about all this though, chat. Can I just say the good thing about all this? Bleacher Report chat, YouTube chat. Can I just say something? At least it ain't the starters though. Like if any of this happened to the first team guys, I'd have been sick. I don't want Overshown to be hurt. I don't want Willetsko to be hurt. I don't want John Stevens to be hurt. It's his knee. I don't want Sheldrick Redwine to be hurt. It's his hamstring. I don't want none of these guys to get hurt. But boy, if it was oof, man, I'm quitting for the season, boy. I'm quitting for the season. You hear me? But it is what it is. We got a lot of people watching live, man. How many people we got watching live? Let me see. Okay, we got 1,100 watching on the Voch Lombardi channel, and we got 29 in Bleacher Report. God damn, we coming up. What? Coming up. All right. Anyway, John Stevens tore his ACL. Oh shit. That's a way to keep John Stevens on your roster next year without having to cut him. But anyway, let's see what else we got. This is your weekly reminder that Josh Ball is terrible. I just wanted to come out and tell y'all that again. And also too, one big negative that I got from this thing is your young secondary. I don't think your young secondary played a really good game. They gave up some big runs on the outside. They gave up some big passes, through the air, and they didn't tackle well at all. It was a lot of yak. It was a lot of rack. But it was your young guys, right? A lot of these guys aren't going to make the team, of course, but it just wasn't looking good. It wasn't looking good. We just gave up too many chunk plays from tackling, and I know Dan Quinn did not love that. He didn't love that at all, but it is what it is. Also, too, excluding D tackles, right? Because we just need D tackles because it ain't just it just happens that our last D tackle on the team just happens to be, Bohanna, a dude that plays in real life, right? So he plays late. There's nothing we can do about that. I will say, does it make anybody nervous or does it make anybody ponder that Kelvin Joseph plays so late in the game? Does it make you wonder? I don't know. Will Steele send me a text say, yo, Voch, KaVontae Turpin is in street clothes on the sideline. That made me go, That's a wrap for Turpin. Somebody made the roster. And as he was saying that, I looked up and I just saw Kelvin Joseph just sitting down, not doing nothing. I was like, all right, let's get this done. Let's take some questions, y'all. Y'all got any questions? Let's go to live. Do y'all have any questions for Voch? And I'll answer them right now. Let me see. Whole in the Bleach Report app says Kelvin is getting cut. Kelvin Joseph is getting cut because I think they're trying to make him a useful DB. They're trying to make him a serviceable DB. I don't think he's getting cut because of kick return, but one of my commenters in my Voch chat from a long time ago, shouts out to them. I forgot who it was and I forgot technically how they said it, but what they said was us having two guys that play that play kickoff and nothing else. They just play teams and nothing else is madness, right? CJ Goodwin is already a guy like that. And until further notice, KaVontae Turpin, a good kicking team guy. Let's see if we can find something for him to do. Eric Scott ain't ready, by the way. I don't think Kelvin Joseph bought himself a gang of time. I just think Eric Scott not being ready gave Kelvin Joseph a little more rope to kind of play with a little bit. Plus, Nashawn Wright is still hurt, so there's another problem that we have. Let's take a look at the YouTube questions. One-handed bandage drop 5 in super chat says, just saw a video on Twitter. He walked to the locker room. He looked fine. Now, one-handed band, I appreciate that $5